Hey guys, Michael from Copper vs Glass. Now today I'm going to be doing something slightly different and I'm going to be asking you guys really heavily for your opinion on this subject. Now, I'm going to be talking about smartphones and the future of smartphones. Now I've been looking a lot recently at all the reviews and things of the new phones that are out at the moment, like the Galaxy S6, the HTC One M9, LG G4 and other phones. I'm kind of thinking to myself, are we getting towards the limit of what phones can do and what's just around the corner or just in general the next big thing to happen with mobile devices? So let's talk about it. Okay guys, so I haven't yet got my hands on the Galaxy S6 or the Edge or the HTC One M9 or the LG G4, but they're kind of the phones that I'm going to be using in this example video along with the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus. Now what I basically want to talk about is, are we at the limit of smartphone technology, and if not, what more is there to come? Now what I mean by that is I've been speaking with some of my friends and things, and we've kind of all agreed on the same sort of thing. What more do we want from our smartphones? And no one could really give a precise answer. There was general things like better graphics, better battery life and camera, but they're all things that have come and gone and will always be progressed on in the future. You're not going to get a new Samsung device that's going to have a worse camera than a previous device, so all of that kind of stuff is going to get built on in the future. But what do we want that's different, new, and just something that we haven't seen before? Well, that's kind of where you guys come into it. What I want to do is try and put together a video compilation of everything that we want in future smartphones to kind of make people aware that we're not necessarily getting bored of smartphones that are currently out there, but that we want more from our smartphones and for them to do different things than what they currently do. One of the main issues with smartphones is they're all pretty good these days. I've still got the LG Nexus 5 and it served me perfectly well. It does what I need it to, it runs the latest games really well. I can do everything that I need to in terms of take photos and things. Now don't get me wrong, I do wish that sometimes it was maybe slightly better than it actually is, but for what I need to do and day-to-day tasks, it works perfectly fine. I was in town the other day and I went into a phone shop and I was looking at all the new flagship devices out there and also some non-flagship ones, and it's actually really hard these days to buy a bad smartphone. Now don't get me wrong, there are some smartphones that aren't necessarily flagships from like Samsung and things, just so they can get a bit more in terms of the budget market, but if you are looking to get a high-end smartphone for around £600 or £700 here in the UK, or roughly £35 to £40 a month on a contract, you really can't go wrong. The amount to choose from is incredibly huge. You've got loads of different manufacturers doing these great smartphones, and that's gonna be a problem in the future in my opinion. You're going to have people that get smartphones and keep them for their 2-year contract, but then when it comes to renew their contract and they maybe have to pay for the handset or the actual cost of the contract increases, are people going to stop buying new phones? Now the reason why I say that is I've recently had the chance to look at someone's Galaxy S6 and it is a great phone, and I can't really see any reason or anything more that Samsung can do that would make me rush out to the shops and upgrade in a year or two when the next devices come out. And I don't personally think that I'm the only one that thinks that. Now don't get me wrong, I love technology and I love new things within devices, whether it's tablets, laptops or phones, but it is getting to the stage now where it is kind of all the same. You get people putting in these super high-end processors and all these gigabytes of RAM, and the phones perform extremely well. But one thing that I would say is, how far is that going to go? Now obviously at the moment the majority of flagship devices have 3 gigabytes of RAM, and the latest rumours for the next generation Moto X is that it's going to push it to 4 gigs of RAM. Now I currently use a 2012 MacBook Pro 13-inch and that has 4 gigs of RAM and it is a laptop. So you can imagine the speed of these phones with 4 gigs of RAM in such a small package, and I don't necessarily know if it's necessary. Now that's not to say that I don't like quick devices and fast devices, but it is kind of worrying to me that you're going to get that jump from 3 gigabytes to 4 gigabytes of RAM. It will make a slight difference, but nothing overly noticeable in my opinion. Yes, the memory and things and the background tasks may perform slightly better, and with increased processors you may get better graphics and just in general better performance, but it's not going to be leaps and bounds what we've had before it. A great example of, in my opinion, the last big step in technology was the Retina display on the iPhone 4. Now this was revolutionary because of the fact that it just pushed pixels to the limit at the time, and going from the older phones where the resolution was still great but you could still see a lot of the pixels, to something like a Retina screen just was really impressive and I really enjoyed it. And then you got to the 1080p stage, and again, phone screens these days look incredibly good. So you've got the HTC One and the old Galaxy S5 with awesome looking screens. And now we're in the era of Quad HD display, or QHD. Now again, the screens do look incredibly nice, but it's not that big a difference to what we're getting with 1080p. And depending on the size of the phone as well, it may not actually make that big a difference in terms of pixels per inch. And obviously, the more pixels there are to push on a device, the more battery that is going to use. And to be honest, in my opinion, that's my main area I think where smartphone manufacturers really need to step up their game. Now don't get me wrong, things like quick charging in the Galaxy S6 and also removable battery in the LG G4 are definitely great features to have, but I just want my phone to last longer. You had the old days of the Nokia phones that were lasting a week to a month in some people's usage, and you just don't get that with smartphones anymore. You're charging them every single night pretty much, unless you've got something like a Galaxy Note 4, or you're charging them actually throughout the day. Now my Nexus 5, I actually had to recently get it replaced by Google as the battery was running down in about 2 hours, and that's without actually the screen on time being 2 hours. It was maybe about half an hour or so. So that was a major problem. I've now got it replaced and the battery is a lot better, but again, I am what I would call a heavy user. I play games, I look at emails, Facebook, Instagram and all that kind of stuff, and it does drain the battery massively, and I'm charging it around 2, maybe even 3 times a day, just from general usage of basically using the phone for what it was meant for. Now if I'm going for a day out and I'm taking a lot of pictures, again, taking photos uses a ton of battery, and they put these awesome cameras in smartphones these days and you can't really take full advantage of them. Recording 4K video on the Samsung Galaxy S6 churns through battery massively, and that's with the time limit on it. You can't just film 4K unlimited and you don't have the expandable storage anymore. So that's kind of my thoughts and my opinions and kind of some of my worries in terms of future smartphone tech. But as I say, this video is for you guys, the viewers, as I want you guys to tell me what you want to see in future smartphones, or just in general what you want to see changed that is currently in devices. Now when you leave some stuff in the comments section down below or on Twitter at Copper vs Glass, I'm going to try and compilate basically everything all together and make a video on what you guys want in smartphones. Now obviously make sure that you put all of your information, because I will be mentioning people's names and things in terms of what they want to see in future smartphones, so do keep that in mind. I'm Michael from Copper vs Glass. This has been a quick video just for you guys on the future of smartphone technology, and like I say, I do want to get your opinion. Thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.